Hello everybody, welcome back. We have the Moros with me today. We have finally collected all of the basic capitals, and I have one that is out on loan currently. The one out on loan is one of my carriers. But we do finally have every basic capital. So we're going to cover the Moros today. This is a very unique ship where I prefer to have it set up for like semi PvE and PvP, where I'll have just enough tank to survive like a dreadnought or two, but not like a DPS dreadnought. So let's get into the stats and the fittings. Alright, so our first stats here, capital close-in defense gun, siege module, as usual with all dreadnoughts currently. We then have capital railgun operation bonus, which is only at level 4 for me right now. This will give 5% damage and 4% activation time per level. So that is 25% damage and 20% activation time. Very nice for high DPS. And then we also have, for our Dreadnought Command bonus, our 7.5% armor repair amount, which puts us at 37.5%. Very, very nice to have. It takes us from doing the normal about 120,000 armor repair up to like 180 or 200,000 armor repair, depending on what fit we're using. So, very, very nice to have that armor repair on top of the DPS. So, here is our general fit. Hi Snoopy, hi Jinner, how you doing today? This fit will change over time as I get better skills. Particularly, I want to drop out one of these target painters for a longbow, but as you can see, I just don't quite have enough. I was debating on dropping down to the Federation Navy, healing and Federation Navy guns to get that on here, but for now, I am okay with just having the target painter. Alright, so, like I said, we have our base healing amount right now is at 50,000 per armor repair. We double that, and it's not actually double this amount, it's double the amount before my general unit. So it's really gonna be at 91,000 when we activate our siege mode. So we would be getting about 160 to 180,000 healing. Very nice, and I'll show that off here. We then are running our 2 adaptives, 2 batteries, a micro-warp drive, and a field stabilizer. This is my PvE fit. It is not going to be very helpful for PvP. It might keep me alive just long enough to get help. And certainly I can run it pretty well. In something like Verge of Silence, it's better to run the 4 batteries, just because it'll give you sustainability. Alright, in our rigs, we are running 2 semiconductors and an ancillary power grid, The power grid here is so I can fit the modules that I do have until I train the better Dreadnought engineering skills. We then also have a 2P 80% integration with explosive nanopump, explosive resistance and nanopump, I should say. So what that's going to do for me is it will give me like 32.5% explosive resistance and like 20% or 22% armor repair bonus. So that gives us a very decent resistance across the board. Very low. However, it works out. Ooh. Alright, so on my implant, we've got thermal circulation level 20 currently. I am working on upgrading this to higher levels because I really do need to. I am in fleet, so you are going to hear fleet commands and stuff. So we have the armor repair output boost. It's going to increase our module activation cost, but we're going to get 24% extra armor repair. This is what I mean when I say that doubled healing does not apply to the full amount, because it only applies to the amount before I do the armor repair general unit. I also have a couple of damage control general units. Not really necessary for my current fit. Right, let's go ahead and get in here. Just waiting to make sure that no one is heading this way.
Undocking.
We'll have a look at the live stats here when I undock. Alright. So, in our defense here, we have 1.8 million. Is really low on the defense number itself. However, we are at 79, 73, 74, and 75% resistance. And when I come over here to my repairs, you can see we're now getting 91,219 per armor repair. Every 6.2 seconds. And that is 182,000 repair every 6.2 seconds. If I take that against my current armor amount, which is 318,000 armor hit points, it takes me less than 2 cycles to heal fully from 0 armor. So, that's what this ship is based around, and what we are looking for. this happens. I never know where to put this thing. It always feels like it's in the way. Alright, so we have a Sancha large vanguard fleet, which I cannot enter. But we do have a bunch of large ADOMs, so let's go ahead and start hitting those. You will notice that I will not activate my
Warp drive
thermal circulation implant. And the reason for that being is that I want the 20% armor resistance as often as possible. I will really only use it, like, if there's a lot of battleships that I just need to get a little bit better activation time on. But currently, the basic, the basic thermal circulation is just not that great for DPS, or PvE in general, other than that resistance bonus.
We're under attack.
Oh no! You're muted on Twitch. One of the things that I noticed that I really enjoy a lot about the Moros, it like two-shots battleships. It is incredible. And if I'm lucky, I can just outright one-shot battlecruisers. I do have to have...
Enemy ships detected.
I do have to have, like...
We're under attack.
all of my modules active on the battlecruiser to one-shot it. I'm speaking about the grappler plus the two target painters. That's the best way for me to do that. See, it's just a monster of DPS. Of course, this anomaly was seemingly left alone, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. I don't know if the game is too quiet or not.
Warp drive
Not
active.
sure. Seems fine though. Alright, we are now in this anomaly. the lock
under
time
attack.
isn't bad, but I wouldn't say it's, like, good either.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
I usually try to lock everything for the first couple of waves, and then after that I start manually locking just the battleships and stuff. Okay, so we might see that close to a one-shot here. Nope, not that time. This is why it's nice to have that Sea Whiz laying around.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Yeah, I don't really notice the 2 shots on something like my Valraven. It's very interesting. And we're gonna wait for these target painters here. Ah, we hit 33. It's very, very close.
Enemy ships detected.
I kind of messed that up.
We're under attack.
Yep, siege mode does not have an effect on the close-in weapon system, unfortunately. I wish it did. Because that would make this ship significantly better. As it sits, this ship is about like a third slower at clearing a anomaly compared to my Valraven. But my Valraven is a little bit better DPS, a little bit better tracking, a little bit better damage overall.
ships detected. We're under attack.
So, my usual goal when I'm running these anomalies is to kill all of the big ships by the time the Sea Whiz has finished off all the smaller ships. And I think that makes for a very balanced clear time. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here. I've talked a lot about the comparison between my Valraven and the Moros here, because the Valraven is the only other capital ship that I personally have set up more for DPS. And when you're looking at something like the Hubris and the Valraven, you find yourself in a very unique situation where both of them perform extraordinarily well in a PvE environment. And I will eventually cover a Hubris. I have most of the skills already for it. I just need to get my hands on one and have it fitted.
We're under attack. We're under attack.
Interesting, I missed that shot there. Okay, and let's take our siege off and we'll head over to the next anom here. That's the base. Okay, we have one more launch to clear. I think we're just waiting on our siege mode to end. We can tell our siege mode has ended because the little turret locations pop out when we are in siege mode,
Warp
and
drive
retract
active.
when we are out of siege mode. I'll see if I can show that off when we land. But you always know when this ship or the Revelation are in siege mode. It's very clear. So what you want to be watching is these 3 bollards, pillars, turret pillars that pop out. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and start getting ready for siege. Let's activate siege, and you'll see the guns pop out, and then you'll see these pop out. Very cool.
We're under attack. Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're under attack.
We do have 0.66 tracking with a tracking computer, and no general units for that tracking computer. I'm at 0.72,
We're under
which
attack.
is perfectly fine for what we're doing here. We got a nice amount of
We're
people
being warp scrambled.
for protection detail if needed. One of the reasons why I'm using the Moros as a PvE grinding ship is mostly to do with the insurance
Enemy
it
ships
costs.
detected.
10,000 is really, really cheap for it.
We're under attack.
I mean, it is almost cheaper than the other dreadnoughts in many cases. And it'll do both tank and DPS in the same fit. It's very nice. Very comfortable. You can see it really just does not struggle at all. when we compare it to the Revelation that I was playing, the Revelation was very, very heavily tanked, which was the purpose of that ship, and it has served its purpose very gloriously, multiple times.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Yeah, given how cheap this fit is, I am very happy with it. I am somewhat certain that this ship could eventually set up to be, Dormant Realm, but I'm leaning more toward the Valraven doing that. Having the short cycle time as well, 6-second cycle time, very comfortable as well. Much more so than something like cannons or missiles. Our range is fairly decent. We're looking at about 57 kilometers before we start really suffering on the rails, on the snub-nose railguns.
We're under attack. We're under attack.
When doing anomalies like this, that is more than enough. If you were going to take this into, like, capital anomalies, you would want to have the longer range weapons. Alright, we should get, like, one cycle out of this. Man, I wish I could do that Sancha fleet. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, so we have cleared this. I guess we'll go clear the mediums now.
Warp drive active.
Have we seen a bounty tick come through yet? I think we've had maybe one.
We're under attack. Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Oh, I think I forgot to show you how much DPS I have when in Siege. Right, so in Siege mode, I have 13,243 DPS when I'm like this.
We're being warp scrambled.
Like I said, I am missing 25% damage and 20% activation time
Enemy
to full
ships
bonus,
detected.
which I'm only missing the last skill, which is like 5% damage and 5% activation
We're
time,
under
but
attack.
that makes a huge difference. I expect with those I would probably be somewhere around 14,500. Hi Azim, how you doing? Welcome, welcome.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Yeah, the new carrier takes a lot to break. I think people are estimating around 20,000 DPS just to break that tank. And I'm not sure if that's with the shield field module active on it, or if that is the ones that don't have the shield field module. Either way, it's a lot to try to break those new VAS. I am waiting on the reset to come through. Man, that's pretty awesome if we would have had the Scorpion. How long does that take? Oh, there's the one shot on the battle
Enemy
cruiser.
ships detected. We're under attack. ships detected. We're under attack. We're under attack.
Yeah, I wish I could go into that Sancho Lodge Vanguard fleet. It's too bad. Wait for the little ballers to go back in, and then we can warp.
Warp drive active.
My current DPS is 13,000 some odd. I can check again here in a moment. It's very comparable to what my Valraven has.
We're
Yep,
under attack.
13,243. Yeah, not bad, isn't it? It's definitely not, like, ultra high. I'm still, like I said, I'm still missing one of the skills that I need, for the DPS. But it's really not that bad.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're being warp scrambled.
There's the pretty much one shot on the battle cruiser again.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
And I love just like
We're being
getting
warp
that
scrambled.
pretty much two-shot on the battleships. It feels so good. It almost hurts when I only have a 3-slot. Or a 3-hit on battleships, because it's like, it feels like a waste of time. Yeah. I'm at 554. No, I'm at 440 right now.
Enemy ships detected.
So, as we get
We're
better
under
skills,
attack.
this thing will just start ripping things apart. Let's check and see what our bounty tick is after we clear this out. Yeah, 440 is like pretty good on this thing. Railguns. Yeah. Capital Railgun 440, 440.
Enemy ships detected.
Oh, didn't mean to turn that off.
We're under attack.
And it is really nice having a ship that can do this, even with low skill points, and have it only be 10,000 compensation. And that's at 55% discount. Very happy about that. Yeah, our home defense is what has done it to me. Yep, one shot that battle cruiser.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're under attack.
Alright, there's our bounty rewards there. Alright, so we had a 38 million and a 51 million bounty reward so far. Oh, I should have warped to that large. Oh well, we'll go
Warp
to the
drive
large
active.
after this one. I'm gonna hide the screen real quick. And we're back.
We're under attack.
Had to inform my people of a anomaly that has been in here for a little while. Just in case anybody wanted to run it.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Dang, that hit on battleships feels so good.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're being warp scrambled.
We're gonna hit that tornado slowed down here. Once again, we're a little bit reliant on
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
our anti-ship Seawiz. Ooh, 90,000 damage on that hit. I really am debating just taking my skill points that I have right now, finishing this off, and then trying to finish off the capital railgun skill that I need. I think it was Operation that I needed, which is 4.2 million, so I couldn't do both. I could choose one. Yeah, it's just regular capital railgun operation.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
No, let's go ahead and do it. Let's just do our weapon skill here. It'll be the first dreadnought that I have for 5.5. Well, at least level 5 on the basic skills, so let's just do it. There we go. So on top of the 5% damage and the 5% damage and the 4% activation time, we also gained additional 4% damage and 4% tracking speed on that. .4% brings us up to 0.68 instead of 0.66. And then our DPS ends up being 14,849.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
Thank you, Jenner. I'll grab it, and we'll run it. Yeah, that paid off really nicely when you got the Karura. Alright, I'm gonna hide the screen just one more time for a few seconds while I go ahead and grab...
Autopilot engaged. Destination reached.
Okay, we got a large lab that we will be
Warp drive active.
working on. I am definitely looking forward to seeing if we get a cyan spawn. Because I want to see what this thing will do to the NPC cyan. Once again, we are continuing our focus on battleships and battlecruisers first. Yeah, this is just normal capacitor levels for something like a Moros or a Revelation.
We're being warp scrambled.
By the way, what value is on this lab? I didn't see. Was this a 7 million? $6 million? Okay. Yeah, I am just at the DPS that I would need to break the cyan tank, so that'll be interesting. What I don't have is a versatile Sea-Wiz to kill the fighters.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack. We're being warp
Hopefully we'll
scrambled.
get to see the tank on this thing in action, but honestly, we're not even going to have a threat until much later waves. What's funny is right now, my passive shield regeneration is tanking them pretty well. Alright, so that was another 50 million bounty tick. Just above what we needed. Once again, we're just relying on the Sea Whiz to kill him.
Enemy ships detected. We're under attack.
8 battleships in this wave. This will probably push the limits of our shield
We're
regeneration,
being warp scrambled.
but we will probably take care of them before they get through that 30% threshold,
We're being
25%
warp
threshold.
scrambled. Shield damaged.
There we go, we're finally at that 30%. Yeah, we're just like not even shield tanked. Our shield is the worst part about us, and it's doing fine. Alright, we've got friends. Let's go ahead and see if I can get myself docked up here.
Autopilot engaged. Warp drive active.
Unfortunate, I was hoping to run that whole encounter there. But I'm not gonna risk losing a ship to something with like a Sino. It's not worth it. Alright, we have made it back to our home. Let's see. Gonna go ahead and stop this. He's a... Nope, that's our guy. Gonna see what happens here. He's probably cloaked. Let's just see what shows up. I know I don't quite have the long range. He's definitely checking things in this area. He's probably on a planet, if I had to guess. He's our weird little Chinese guy here. AOX. He might be in like a Macarial or a Marzio. They like to fly that. Alright, we're gonna hide this. For a little bit. While I figure out where I need to go. I'm really hesitant to actually do anything though.
Warp drive active.
Okay. Alright. Oh, looks like... This is a big old bubble, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, he's definitely cloaked. And I really don't want to be in this bubble. Mm. Okay, let's figure out what this is. Okay, it is a Marzio. We're just keeping ourselves moving away so that way I don't get caught inside the bubble for too long. I really don't have the kind of range I need, unfortunately. There's our boy. See what happens here. I think Hot Patch seems fine. I don't really like the change to the missions being too hard, and so they reduced the reward and the amount. I think that was just unfortunate that people were not prepared to do it. Oh, okay, he left.
Autopilot engaged. Warp drive active.
I was really hoping they would have kept the more difficult design of it.
Autopilot engaged. Destination reached.
Alright, well, I guess this will be the end of the stream. It seems like our area is starting to get a little hot, so we might as well end it here. thank you all so much for joining me on this stream. Hopefully you enjoyed the Moros and what it can do. Unfortunately that I could not finish the mission on stream. I'll probably do it off stream though. But I need to deal with what's in the system and what's going around us. Alright, take care everybody, and have a good day. Take care and be safe.